Welcome back, terrestrials. In this episode, we're doing 1986's Slaughter High. I thought about doing these like wrestling promotions, like 1986's Slaughter High, like that, that like,
I'm glad that conversation will definitely pass.
fuck
Stuff.
you.
So,
All right, so yeah, Slaughter High. Jerry picked this one out, right? So
yes.
kick it off. What's your grade?
C minus.
Okay. All right. My instinct is to say I never grade these
Right.
until you say your words. Um,
C
but
minus.
yeah, C minus seems fair because this is a movie.
Yeah, there you go.
like
Hey, thank you
there's
for joining us.
yeah,
It
yeah,
is movie.
yeah. I don't
Fucking,
do I when I was watching it, I was like,
you
I
were
don't I
holy shit. Fucking, I listened to it because it was so fucking dark. That's where all the negative comes
that
from.
yeah. I
It
mean, I definitely made note of that several times in my notes to talk about.
darkest
Yeah.
fucking movie in the
Yeah.
world.
Very low quality. And it's funny because just before that, I was talking to you about like the older I get, I don't care to watch low quality movies anymore. And when I say low quality, I don't mean like shitty budget movies. I mean
Right.
low visibility quality movies because my eyes hurt, I get a headache, I'm old, I don't want to do it anymore.
Right.
I had to turn the lights off and turn my TV on the brightest setting to be able to see any of this.
Right.
It was so underlit through the entire movie. Even the
Dark.
daytime shit was
Yeah.
like, what's happening right
Like
now?
some of the stuff in the beginning at the school was fine, but
Even
and
that
then
seemed a
like
little dark. Like the
at the
gym.
end was
Yeah.
fine. Like when he's chasing the girl outside, and
Yeah.
he's going through the school, and there's kind of interesting, cool shots, but
Yeah.
the fucking meat and the potatoes, that bulk in the
Yeah.
middle,
Yeah. It was
is
very strange.
too dark.
It's crazy to me that nobody I don't know who these people were that worked on this movie, but it was crazy to me that they didn't think that they needed some sort of lighting.
Or if you don't know how to shoot in dark, the dark,
Don't.
don't
Yeah.
don't it would have been fine during the day.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, but
Yeah.
that doesn't fucking
Yeah,
matter.
like coming through the windows to light it up naturally and still be, you could
Right.
have darkened it. You could have darkened the windows and taken light away instead of
Hmm.
trying to shoot in. Yeah, I mean, that was the biggest flaw with this movie. There's a couple of other things that bothered me because the lighting put me in such a bad mood
Right.
that I started picking this movie apart.
Okay.
And I really feel like this movie, when I said it's movie, that's what it feels like. The storyline isn't crazy. It's not,
It's a
something
Friday the
unique.
13th ripoff.
Right. It's not, but it's also not unique.
No.
Um, like it, yeah, it's a ripoff, but they didn't do anything to make it their
Different.
own.
Right.
Yeah, they followed the formula and then movie's over.
Right.
And it's like the 90% of the kills were off screen or very boring,
Mm.
one or the other.
There are at least three in this movie that are
Right, but
fucking fantastic.
there's 7 or 8 people killed in this
I don't
movie.
know how many people there are. There was like 20 because
Well, yeah,
we
where
don't
did that
like
Asian lady come from? She wasn't in the original group, so I don't
I
know.
don't know because they decided to make so many fucking characters. There were only like 4 or 5 characters that were like, okay, that's 4 or 5. You do any more than that, then it's bullshit. But these 4 or 5 characters should have been the only one. But fucking
Well, in the
all
beginning of
these
the movie, there's like 8 kids that play the prank on him. But then when they show up at the school, there's still the 8 kids. But it's like uh, they're not necessary. Like, sometimes you can tell when you watch a movie, like, that's just a body.
Body
That's
count.
just a
Yeah.
body. So they tried to make everybody the forefront character.
Hmm.
And it's like, no, dude, that's not, you don't do that. Like,
Right.
you got, like you said, your 4 or 5 mains,
Four
and
or
then you
five
got
minutes.
three or
Right.
four bodies that get knocked off real fast.
Right.
They didn't adhere to that. They tried to make everybody the main character,
Right.
and I don't know. It just
They try to make everybody the main character. I think that flawed, and also it was like too many of the same type of character, like
Mhm.
short-haired white guy,
Yeah.
and there's like five of them, and I'm just like, which one's this?
Mhm, mhm.
And the only way that I can remember them is if they had like one of the thumbs up deaths. I'll get into that when I get into my positives, but
Sure.
another problem with this movie that I found really like disassociating was there was at least 4 or 5 times like I was like, and cut, like where okay, that's the end of the movie. And it just keeps going into this strange realm and stuff where our main victim or main villain, he gets his revenge, but then all the people come back as zombies. Why? But then
Yeah.
he's in the hospital and like,
Yeah.
ow, ow, hurty. But then a doctor hears him freaking out, but then he's the nurse and and it's just like, no, guys, end this fucking movie.
Mhm.
Okay. This isn't Lord of the Rings. It doesn't need 14 different endings.
Yeah.
End the goddamn movie there.
Yeah, I agree. I when that was coming, when that started happening, I was like, weird.
Yeah.
Like, where did this come from?
Hmm.
Like, it's like I don't know. It's like they wrote the end of the movie and then was like, is that good enough?
Hmm.
Let's try this.
No, yeah,
Well,
let's keep going.
that doesn't make sense
Yeah.
now. He probably should be having a nightmare in a hospital. Like, it was
Right.
just like they just kept adding on, and it was confusing. I mean,
It
the
was.
movie is very basic. It's a very basic movie, and
It's
on top
Friday
of the
ripoff and
right, but
easy.
I mean, it's formula slasher style, like
Hmm.
revenge. So it, but because of the lighting and the lack of decent acting and the characters all
Hmm.
being kind of the same, everything was just very bland. It was
Hmm.
very bland movie. I didn't dislike it, but it could have been so much more.
Yeah.
Friday ripoffs, they're dime a dozen,
Right.
and there's great ones.
Yes.
This one I don't think falls into that category. So,
No.
I
And I
mean,
even think it has another big problem with the fact that I think this was supposed to be called April Fool's Day.
I think it was too,
I
yes.
think it was because yeah, they kept focusing on that April Fool's Day, and
Yeah.
the whole high school thing is kind of like, I get it. It's called Slaughter High, and it just like never
Yeah, the
once
height
did that kind of like cross the streams where I'm sitting there going, okay, they're in high school and they're getting slaughtered. Well, it's a class reunion. So wouldn't it be called class reunion fucking slaughter or
massacre
whatever?
or something. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
yeah,
But
that was apparent that was a I don't know if it was a forced change or a different decision,
I think they had
but
realized, oh shit, there's already a fucking
I
uh
do
April
yeah.
Fool's Day coming out.
Yeah, probably. I think it's also funny that this is still in the 80s time where the 30-year-olds are playing high school kids.
Yeah.
That I mean, just blatantly. There was very few things that I super liked, but Frank the dumb guy, the meathead kind of guy.
Okay.
Um, I don't know if you noticed this. He sounded and his cadence was just like Rodney Dangerfield.
Well, I think this is a British movie.
You think so?
I think they're all British cuz okay, our actress lady, okay,
Uh-huh.
the basically starts this movie out, the actress girl, the
Yeah.
dark-haired girl.
Yeah.
at some points she's just talking normal, but then there's like other points where she's pulling out this really twangy, like, what's she talking about kind of, and it's like, oh, because she's just going in and out of the American accent. Our
I
jokes,
don't know. You might want to fact check that one.
I the Joker guy, the our comedian in the fucking punch buggy, I know he's an English actor. As a matter of fact, there's a couple of lines where he slips up and you can actually hear his English accent come out, you know. Um, like especially in the car when he's talking to the one girl. The one girl in the car that he picks up in the hitchhiking,
Mhm.
she doesn't even fucking try. She's just talking in a proper English accent and shit. And I guess they were just like, she's a foreign exchange student. Doesn't matter. Fucking, you know. But yeah, I do think, you know, fact check me if anything, but I think this is an English production. Look at that high school. That doesn't look like any American high school. It looks like fucking, yeah,
I agree
like
with
a
that. Yeah.
rundown Hogwarts, you know? Like there's even not even fucking lockers in the hallways anywhere, you know? It didn't look like high school to me. Um, Another thing that really fucking just drove me crazy about this movie is whoever was doing the soundtrack needed to calm that shit down because that
It
fucking
never
the boopy
stopped.
boopy noise and shit fucking that he kept using was just off the rails. And like even like 4 or 5 times in this movie, they use the Jason song, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
that like kind of noise and shit. Like,
I think that this one's still held as like one of those classic cult
oh
movies.
yeah, Slaughter High, man.
Yeah, but
Fucking
and it's funny when I told you when we were talking before we did this, I was like, "Hey man, yeah, I haven't seen that one."
right.
Well, I got on Tubi to watch it and it said continue watching and it was 3/4 of the way through. So I had seen it recently and I've
It just
forgotten about it.
washed it out of your
Yeah,
brain.
so like there's that.
Right.
Um but yeah, so it when you make a horror movie, you want to make as much believable as possible. So like you've got the accident on April Fool's Day in high school,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and then we know we're gonna get the revenge killings, okay. Obviously, the 10-year reunion thing where everybody looks exactly the fucking same because it wasn't 10 years. You show up to this very, very, very clearly condemned fucking high school and you still go inside.
Right.
Shut the fuck up. Stop right there.
No.
Don't do shit like that. Like, if I'm not going into I would go into, I've been in tons of condemned buildings, but that's because I'm going into them intentionally.
Right.
I'm not going to a high school reunion
Yeah.
and where there's nobody and it's at a condemned building. No, thank you.
Mm.
Like, it's different than urban exploring. So
Yes.
that bothered me. It immediately took me out of the movie. Why are these dum-dums going in this
Right.
fucking
Who the fuck put
um
the union here? Shouldn't this be at like a Holiday Inn?
yeah, and
Fucking or
then
somewhere?
the timeline thing was bothering me. It's
No.
April Fool's Day ends at noon. What?
Yeah, that must be an English thing.
What? April
Right.
Fool's Day is a full fucking 24 hours, you R
Right.
words.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? It doesn't stop at noon. It's not from 9 to noon, you
Right.
jackasses. What are you like? Make your movie make sense and then it becomes enjoyable. Also, make your movie interesting and then it becomes enjoyable. But
Right.
these little things I can overlook when your movie is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So it's like, don't do both of these bad things at once. Don't make a bland movie and then put a bunch of flaws in it for my brain to pick apart while I'm watching it. And then you got Frank's dumbass having sex with that lady, and she's like, talk dirty. And he's like, tits.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey, no, I haven't gotten to the good shit in this movie yet. Don't fucking
all
steal my
right, all right, all
thunder.
right, all right. Well,
Okay.
I mean, I I don't think that's stealing thunder. I
Oh
think
my god,
it's the dumbest
I
fucking thing I've
love that
ever seen.
shit. I
Okay, all
so want to use those lines the next time.
right. Yeah, go for it.
I was sitting there
You want me
and
to
like,
talk dirty to you? Yeah,
yeah,
tits.
tits,
Like, all right.
shit, fucking
Yeah.
just start saying like it was just, oh my god, that whole thing was the best writing thing ever. That has to be improvised because
God, it was
this movie
probably
showed none of that shit in the beginning up until that point where I was just like, yes, yes,
another okay, well, I'll stay off that one so that you can have fun
all
with it.
right.
Um Another thing that
Well, I
really
mean,
bothered me was the fucking janitor. Like they show up to this goddamn condemned
uh
school.
he's the
Hold on,
what
let me finish before you say that.
okay,
They show up to the school and he goes, "I'm the caretaker
the
now."
caretaker.
What
Yeah.
did you take care of? Because this building is falling apart. You're the worst caretaker I've
Yeah.
ever seen in my goddamn life.
The
There's
grass
rats
isn't
and
even cut.
the grass isn't cut. There's broken windows. The fucking paint is
Paint.
peeling off the walls. There's shit all over the floor. What did you care for? Like
Mm.
nothing. You just lived inside this building for fucking also, I don't know much about, UK schools, but what schools in the UK have bathtubs and beds in them?
Yeah. The kind that you have to live in, like in Hogwarts. Like you
I mean,
go
I'm
there
saying
in
that it's
September and
UK.
you
I'm just buying into your UK
yeah,
theory.
I'm so like in that direction.
Possibly,
But
possibly. I don't know.
yeah, once more, they have like I could have bought the shower at the beginning, but when the
Right.
bathtub came, I was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
And
What's
yeah,
happening?
like maybe like a dirty fucking like mattress on the ground, but that was a legit bed.
Yeah.
But
More than one, by the way. There was
right.
more than one bed.
Yeah, like dormitories
Yeah.
and no high
Yeah. Yeah.
school, unless it's supposed to be like some posh fucking,
But again,
like
I
private
don't know shit
school.
about UK schools, so
Right.
maybe.
Um, but this is one of those things like, okay, there's been tons of remakes of really good horror, like movies that shouldn't even been touched that have been remade. And they bring those remakes bring something new. This is the type of movie that you want to remake a horror movie out of. You have such a simple premise, a decent fucking like character,
Yeah, I
I
think
think it
that the
would be
slasher
better.
character is better than Russ Thorn.
Right.
The idea of the character, he at least has motivation. He at least
Hmm.
has, something going on there. The
Right.
Jester mask bothered me because it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with April Fools or the school or anything else outside of the
Cool.
fact that they made
Fools. Yeah.
him the butt of the joke.
Right.
So maybe, I don't know.
It's
But
just
that
that
also
because it
brings
showed
in
in the beginning, they had it in the beginning, and now he's portrayed that character at the end, and that was kind of like, okay, cool, you know.
but
Um,
also that brings in more flaws with the movie because you've got the jester mask with bells on it and somehow he's silently moving through the school and nobody can hear him except for when they want the bells to
right,
jingle.
because either the victims are stupid as shit, or he
Well, that's very
decides.
clear. Very, very clear that all of them are dumb fucking people.
Right, he decided to take the bells out or something,
Yeah.
Um, I'll say that one scene though where like, okay, everybody's dead except for our actress model like
Mhm.
lady,
Yeah.
and she's running down the hallways and the lights start blowing out,
Mhm.
and like finally they knew how to lit this motherfucker because he's walking down the hallway with the bat,
Mhm.
and like just that darkness kind of like peels off of him, and I was like,
Mhm.
okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's all you need, but light the rest of the shit fucking so we can see.
Yeah.
um but so let me get to what I really enjoyed. C minus, so it's still passing.
Yeah.
There are some kills in this fucking movie that are like top notch, like memorable.
Mhm.
really good. Okay, so we got acid bathtub. That was okay. I
Mhm.
thought the prosthetics, like if we could fucking see them a little bit better, that looked kind of good.
Mhm.
I knew what was going on,
Right.
but it like the shotgun beer, and
Mhm.
that was the weirdest shotgun beer ever.
Yeah, I
On the
made note of that, of shotgunning from the bottom. Like,
yeah,
is that genius or dumb? I can't tell.
it's dumb because you want to hold the and have it flow down. He's having to go like
You
that,
still have to do that. You just do it from the side.
Eh,
So I think that it's an acceptable way of doing it, but
okay. Um,
we both don't drink anymore, so we can't call Mac.
right. Yeah. But that gut scene, so
Mm,
and I don't know how he got the
they looked real.
yeah, that whole thing with his belly and then the guts
Mm,
popped out, and I was like, yeah, that's good.
mhm,
Um, and then the best one I think in this movie is where he goes and works on the fucking tractor or
mhm.
whatever,
Yeah,
and that tractor falls, and every moment I was just like, yes, and it was lit
very good.
decently. Like,
Yes.
yeah, not the best. You could have lit
Mhm.
it better, but like, and then that blood coming up, and it was
Yeah.
just like,
It was great. The only thing, see, for me, when there's kills in movies, the tractor kill is the kill in this movie for me.
right,
The thing that bothers me is when there's a shitty lead up to the kill.
right,
Like
yeah. I don't give
when
a
they're
shit about
in there,
anything
number one,
else.
the main character, the skinny guy with the dark hair, I fucking hated that guy. I hated his face. I didn't like him talking. He just seemed like a weaselly little prick, and I didn't like him at all.
Ben
But
Wolfhart's dad.
I no.
No.
But when you like in the lead up to that scene, he's like that guy's being all like coked out, like, oh, can you get us through this door? Just make sure it fucking gets us through the door. Get
Right.
the fucking thing. It's like all that shit was so annoying that it took away from him just quietly working on all he was really doing was like laying under there going, with wrenches, and it was like, all right, you know what, it works,
Yeah.
it's making it somewhat believable. Okay, but
I'm
then you
just
get the
working on
kill
trick.
and it's hilarious and it's awesome, but then at the end of the movie you see him and he just has a ripped shirt and pink
Oh yeah.
on his shirt when he's the
Oh,
zombie character, so it's like,
yeah. We don't. The end of the movie is nothing. The
yeah,
zombies and shit.
yeah,
Fucking
yeah,
no. We're not even talking and going there.
okay.
But runner up goes to the electric sex bed, where that thing
New
fucking
band
like
name, I called it.
yeah, electric sex bed. Fucking
Yeah, that's
holy
the channel's new name,
yeah,
dude.
electric sex bed. Fucking oh my god, that was just so funny.
Yes.
And when that thing caught on fucking sparks and
Yeah.
shit, it was just like, ah, fuck, dude, that
Yeah.
was hilarious.
Yeah.
And it, like, they tried to do some kind of burn prosthetics on her
Yeah.
face at one
Yeah.
point, but it was too dark to fucking
Mhm.
see it.
Yeah.
But I don't care. That
Yeah.
scene
I wonder if the dark stuff was accidental or it was by choice to hide low quality,
could have been
because like the things that were
bad
lit well, like
cameras,
when you see the guts coming out, you see it very clearly
Yeah.
because it looks good. And then when you see like the darker images like the acid bath or the
Hmm.
electric sex bed, uh it's darker, and I wonder if it's to hide something. I
Maybe
wonder if it was an artistic choice to hide things, basically,
that
because it might be that.
I would say yes, or an experience with as a cinematographer, not the director. The
Yeah.
director knew what the fuck to do,
Right, right.
just to
Yeah.
film a scene.
Yeah.
But I think the cinematographer didn't understand light composition in a movie. Oh, make it
Right.
dark because it looks spooky or
Yeah.
atmosphere. And it's like, yeah, but if there's no goddamn light anywhere,
Right.
then
Exactly.
you don't see shit. Because I
Right.
know, like we've said, in this movie, there are just big long stretches of like a little piece of light here, and that's all we can see. And then just a solid
Mhm.
black fucking like you know background. And then just like
Mhm.
a little piece of light or a little something here and there. Some of it looks good and artsy, but when your movie is 45%, blacked out, who gives a shit? Fucking,
Yeah,
this is a
yeah.
weak
It
ass
makes it a lot
movie.
harder to enjoy.
Right.
I think that one of the kills that I thought was kind of interesting, which also is a weird choice, but when this still very much geek weakling nerd, whatever you want to call him, picks the janitor up by his throat, oh,
No,
caretaker, by
no,
his throat,
character.
and puts him on that coat hook on the door. That
Right.
was kind of cool. But then also nails his hand to the door like he's waving.
Don't
I
know.
don't, and also, why are you mean to him? He didn't do anything to you.
Right. Right.
Like, you brought these 10, 12, 15, 30 people
Yeah.
here
57.
to yeah, exactly, to your whole graduating class, to kill them because they pulled a prank on you and then pulled another prank on you and then also burned you with acid,
Just figured you.
all on the
Yeah.
same day, by the way.
Yeah.
That's traumatic as fuck. um but they deserve it.
Yeah.
Go kill them. That guy, he's just living his life. He was happy about having one PBR. Like, his life is trash already. He lives in a
Right.
condemned building and he's psyched on one PBR.
Right.
Let him live. You don't need to do that to him. And I guarantee you, if he saw you doing any of that, he'd be like, doesn't involve me.
Yeah.
I'm going this way. Like,
Right.
okay, fair enough. Like, that the kill was interesting, but it was also kind of, I didn't like the fact that he did
Body
it.
count. We need
Yeah,
something.
yeah, I guess. But what about the 15 kids that showed up? Like, they were all body counts.
Yeah.
And then also, they hung the Skip. What was his name? Skip, dumb fuck, skinny guy. God, I
Right.
hate him. Um, they hung him from way up in the rafters somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then he gets down and the girl puts a hatchet in his face. And it's like, how did he get down? He was like 30 feet in the fucking air. Like, I don't,
Questions are not
or maybe
needed.
he wasn't. Yeah, I don't know.
Right.
It just, those kinds of things make the movie unenjoyable to me.
Right.
Like, if you want me to not notice or be able to go, fuck it, who cares? I need to be having a blast. In this movie,
Right.
I was not having a blast. I was very much looking at this movie and with very critical eyes, because
Mm-hmm.
it starts off dark and you're just like, what the fuck?
Right.
And then the low quality of the camera, even in the bright daylights, the camera quality was still low.
Yeah.
So
Is
it's like, yeah, it's just, then I start picking the movie apart. And you gave it a C minus. I don't know if I agreed with that or not. I still feel like maybe this is a D plus. It's still
makes
passing,
sense.
but
It's just
I
those
just,
small things
little
that I
mini
picked out.
things.
Like I can't deny those kills. I can't
That's
deny electric sex bed.
right.
Can't deny dirty talking.
Yeah,
Like and even like another thing, it's like the beginning of this fucking movie is just Carrie in 10 minutes.
right.
Like it literally,
Yeah,
okay,
it's
we
more reasons to dislike the movie than there are to like the movie.
right.
And I
But
understand you gave it a low enough grade and you feel confident in that, and that's
yeah,
fine. But it being a Friday ripoff, the picking on, the bullying, and then the revenge thing, it's like, oh, where have I seen that before? Oh, every other movie? Like, they
every
pick
other
and chose. And then even the joke or the gesture mask immediately kicked me back to House on Sorority Row.
hmm
And I was like, we were just talking about, why don't you use that mask as the killer's mask in a movie? We turn around and some years later, they do it and they don't execute it well. It puts even more of a bad taste in my
right.
mouth. And then, like, Electric Sex Bed and Lawnmower Killer, not enough to save the movie. There was
Not
not
enough,
enough
but
good.
enough to be memorable. Like it's
Those
better
two things I
than
will remember,
yeah.
yes.
Like it's not like, oh, there's 15 victims, there's 15 stabs, or there's 15
Right.
victims, there's 15 like off camera kills, like the kills that they had planned in their
Yeah.
brain, like, okay, we got to have this.
Yeah. They
Those are the
executed well.
ones that executed well. So
Mhm.
it's a good execution.
Right.
I think this movie suffers from, and I know we've coined termed it where it's a makeout movie. Who gives a shit what's on screen?
Yeah.
In the 80s, you go to the theater, you take your significant partner and you make out. How did you like the movie? It was violent. It was violent.
Yeah.
And
How
then
was the movie? We didn't watch it.
yeah, you gotta, it was okay, like, and they would just roll these motherfuckers out dime a dozen for like VHS rentals, and
Mhm.
it's like
That's
I
what it seemed
watched
like. It
something like
seemed like it was a heavily watched VHS, and then somebody transferred it to digital, and that's the only
yeah,
version of this that there is.
yeah,
Maybe that is what happened to this movie.
maybe,
Maybe it was a higher quality, and because sometimes Tubi can only get a digital copy of a
yeah.
VHS.
I think they go as high as like 720, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
I've seen worse video quality on Tubi.
oh yeah.
So I maybe that's what happened, or the camera quality was just that low. I don't know.
Right. However, I will say I have seen a fucking amazing quality. I was watching fucking Samurai Cop the other night, which is a movie that you do not like perfect picture frame
Mhm.
or like really good quality. I put that on the big TV upstairs and I'm like, why does this look better than fucking Oppenheimer that I just watched?
Mhm.
Oppenheimer had the black bars here and there. Samurai Cop doesn't even have that. It's like
I
touch and
think the
full.
I think
That's
the black
perfect.
bars were artistic choice. But like when we were talking before last week or whatever on Tuesday, I I watched these fucking 50s black and white sci-fi
Hmm.
horrors, and they're gorgeous quality.
Right.
And I'm like, holy fucking shit. Like, and then you turn around, you watch Slaughter High that's 30 years later, and you're like, what happened?
Cheap
Like,
cameras, cheap,
I guess,
cheap, cheap,
yeah. And
cheap.
I think
And
one
I
of the
mean, look,
things that you lose in a lower quality camera is
mhm,
its ability to pick up light. It's
right.
light sensory. I don't know what all that's called,
Yep.
but
Because I mean, like, you can look at some underground movies of the before era, and it still looks better than this. It's
way
just,
better.
it's literally, it's cheap, not
Mhm.
inexpensive or underground, like
Right.
some of those movies where someone has an idea and a vision. This is, hey, let's make a Friday ripoff to make some money, write a script. I'll call my cousin. He knows like a film studio. We can get some camera gear. You know, the only thing
It really
you
felt
know,
like a student project.
yeah, but sometimes a student project has heart. This has like
Well,
nothing.
yeah,
This
yeah, yeah,
feels
I
like,
agree. I'm just talking about the quality and the
yeah,
bad acting
s-
and all that stuff. Like, I find it hard to believe that somebody walked in and was like, okay, I'm the casting director
right.
and I'm going to pick 8 terrible actors in a row. Like, that is baffling to me. Usually, like, you see that there's one or two good actors out of the group of people that are going to be murdered in the movie.
Yeah.
You can see that there's a couple good ones and there's a couple that are just bodies. This one, they like they picked every terrible actor that showed up that day.
Mm, yeah. Yeah.
All
Or
of them.
just the
There
fuckers
was
that
no
showed
good
up.
actor. Yeah, exactly.
How many people did came in? 15? Oh,
Okay, well
well,
that's
that's
cool.
kind of a
That's
coincidence because
enough
that's
people to make a
exactly how
movie.
many we need.
Yeah, exactly.
You
And then
know?
also the other thing, I don't know if you noticed this, at the end when uh the young boy is pulling at his like scar face
Yeah, it's
stuff.
kind of like
He just pulls the fucking prosthetic
a
off.
prosthetic off.
Like
Yeah.
as it's moving down in slow motion, you just see smooth skin. You just see his cheek under there. So he was just pulling his prosthetic off. And it was
Right.
like, why did you choose to leave that in the movie? He's clearly just pulling his prosthetic off.
Yeah. Well, it
Like,
looks like he's pulling his skin off. No, it looks like
no,
he's
it looks
done
like
for
he's
the
pulling.
day and wants
Yeah,
to get that shit
yeah,
off his face.
exactly. It looks like it was a blooper. Like they
Yeah.
wrapped on the movie and he went, oh,
Yeah,
and like ripped it off. And they were like,
right.
you know
Look how
what? Slow that
gross.
down and we'll try to make
Yeah,
that part of the
maybe
movie.
we
Like,
can make something of it, you know?